Hello Ice and Fire Nerds, this is Chris, and let's continue our Game of Thrones Foreshadowing series and pick up where we left off in the last episode, Season 1, Episode 2, The King's Road. Alright, so let's pick up right where we left off. Next we have a scene between Jon and Bran as he gets ready to head to the wall.
We can go out walking beyond the wall if you're not afraid.
So a lot going on here and a lot that's probably not paid off quite yet. Perhaps we'll see some of that in Season 7. But we definitely have a couple scenes here you could pick from as far as a payoff scene. But I think this scene is one it could definitely point to.
If he sees you, he won't let you go normal. Heath, you're my brother. He wants to protect you. He'll take you back to Castle Black.
Bran is on his way to find the three-eyed raven as far as Blood Raven and becoming the next Green Seer. Jon's already been in the Night's Watch. He's went back at this point to take care of the mutineers at Craster's Keep. Several times in this show, they've become so close to meeting each other again. So close, yet so damn far. During this scene, we have Catelyn saying to Jon,
I want you to leave.
Now, I didn't throw this scene in here for any particular foreshadowing. It just shows how much of an asshole Catelyn is to Jon. And she started all this shit. Her and Littlefinger. And in our next scene, we have Jon and Robb talking for the last time.
He's not going to die. I know it.
You Starks are hard to kill.
My mother?
She was very kind.
Good.
So we have a little back and forth here between Robb and Jon. You can tell they really love each other. They was raised as brothers. They're about the same age. And Jon says, you Starks are hard to kill. But what's interesting here is then he asks about his mother as far as Catelyn and how he treated him. Jon lies to him, basically says she was very kind when she was actually an asshole. So being that he mentioned Catelyn and Jon mentioned Starks are hard to kill, this probably led up to this.
The Lannisters send their regards.
Maybe, maybe not, but the next one in this very same scene is one of my favorites.
Next time I see you, you'll be all in black.
It was always my colour.
Farewell, Snow.
And you, Stark.
So Jon says particularly that black was always his color. And of course, if we look at the Targaryen house sigil, now that we know that Jon is a Targaryen, being the son of Rhaegar and Lyanna, the Targaryen sigil is on a black field. So of course, although he is half Stark, this kind of hints at his true parentage as far as Lyanna and Rhaegar right from the get-go in episode 2. Along with a shit ton of other scenes throughout the entire series. Now this next scene, we have Jon going to the wall and Ned heading to King's Landing with Robert to become Hand of the King, and Jon and Ned had this pretty obvious talk here about his parentage.
And you are a Stark. You might not have my name. You have my blood.
At this point, we don't know how important it's going to be. He clearly says here, you may not have my name, but you have my blood. But he does not say, you may not have my blood, but I am your father, or you are my son. Like anybody in normal circumstances would say, he says you are a Stark. So we knew right then from the get-go that Ned was likely not his father. So yet another clue about R plus L equals J. And to add to the clues of R, L, J in the first 2 episodes of the entire show, we have...
Your bastard's mother.
Wyler.
That's it. She must have been a rare wench to make Lord Eddard Stark forget his honour. You never told me what she looked like.
No, will I?
So we had Robert here talking to Ned, and of course he brings up Wyler the wet nurse, and that's all he'll say. He won't tell Robert a damn thing about it, so we know he's keeping a secret here. We can see it several times during the first couple episodes. He's already starting to think about this Targaryen thing. He's really against Daenerys being killed. He's kind of protecting the Targaryens almost in a sense as far as trying to tell Robert not to worry about him, because obviously he knows the truth about Jon, and if Jon were found out to be a Targaryen, Robert will want to kill him too.
Promise me, Ned. Promise me.
So this was the promise to Lyanna. And during the same scene, Robert particularly says,
There's a war coming, Ned. I don't know when, I don't know who we'll be fighting. But it's coming.
So he thinks somebody's coming to take his throne as far as the Targaryens, you know, Dany or Viserys coming with Khal Drogo and the Khalasar. But of course we know as book readers and show watchers that this really means the White Walkers and also references the Lannisters as well, because they are going to actually be the ones, specifically Cersei, to go after Robert. So essentially he thinks that there's a war coming from across the Narrow Sea, when the war is going to be right there at home between his own family. And then of course on top of that you have the War of the Five Kings after Robert's death creates that vacancy on the throne. And in the same scene, Robert tells Ned,
"She's little more than a child.
Oh, soon enough that child will spread her legs and start breeding."
Tell me we're not speaking of this.
So speaking of breeding, leading to our next scene, we see Dany and Drogo, well, breeding. But then Dany starts to look at her dragon eggs and then starts to smile as she's breeding, so this kind of tells us this. So I think with the combination of what they were actually doing and her smiling and staring at these eggs with the flames around them as far as the candles go, this tells us she has a strong bond with these eggs and that dragons are going to be born in this story. And then we have a very cool scene with Jon and Tyrion on the way to the wall. Of course, Tyrion's going to visit the wall and we see this.
Lovely thing about the watch. You discard your old family and get a whole new one.
So we have Tyrion telling Jon, you know, you get to discard your whole family and get a whole new one. But right when he said this, they showed Benjen over there, as in he's going to discard the Starks and get a new family. Yeah, kind of pointing, if you stretch a little bit, to the fact that he's actually not just fully Stark. So yet another clue about R+L=J. They're really piling them on here. And during this same scene, we see some new Night's Watch members along with Jon.
You don't believe that nonsense.
Specifically, they show Rast here, and of course Rast is going to be a problem. So of course Rast was the one who wanted to hurt Sam, and Jon made everybody else basically protect Sam, and also he became one of the mutineers at Craster's, and of course he ended up being killed by Ghost. So that definitely hinted there was going to be some future problems between Jon and Rast. Alright guys, so that'll do it for this episode. Please tune in for the next episode. We'll pick up right where we left off. As usual, thank you guys for all the support, especially you guys on Patreon. Again, a special shout out to my Patreon executive smokescreen producers, Volguy10, Lala Gig, and Kissa Powell. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. Be sure to click that notification bell as well so you get notified when I drop a video. And this series, although they're short, will allow me to upload a lot more frequently. So thanks again, you guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you